Good morning, everyone. How many of you are professional designers? Raise your hand. I expect to see a lot in this room. Good, I'm in the right place. And how many of you are working on the coolest, dream project that is totally inspirational, really getting all of your creative juices out? Raise your hand if you're working on that project right now. Don't see as many hands getting raised. No, I saw a couple of them. I'm curious. Talk to me afterwards because I want to hear about it. My name is Brennan. I'm a human-centered designer with a background in industrial design, service design, innovation strategy. Oops. Already going too far? There we go. And for over 20 years, I've been working with teams to focus their creativity on the people they serve and try to figure out how do we find new ideas that really connect with people. I've worked in consulting, small consulting firms. I've worked in a large financial services organization, the ATO here in Australia. I'm with Deloitte Digital now, and I really kind of focus in the financial services sector. These are not the bastions of creativity, okay? When you are in a place like the ATO, there's a lot of creativity that needs to happen, but you don't want to be too creative with your taxes. So I've loved this career. It's been awesome. I've worked and lived around the world. Lived in the spots where you've got some green dots, and the blue dots are places where I've done design ethnography, where I'm living with families, watching how they eat, go out to dinner, brush their teeth, comb their hair. And it's important that you go out there and you see people's lives because while a lot of my clients have been global, all of the decisions people make, are quite local, right? So you have to understand them in their context. And that can be really inspirational in and of itself. But a lot of times, the places that need the most creativity are not the sexiest of organizations. And while designers might be gagging to work at Apple or Google or Canva, let's make some beautiful, cool stuff, it's places like an insect repellency company that might really need your help. And if you've ever gone camping, you want those insect repellents to work. And you want to have a good experience because it's not really about the insects or the camping. It's usually about connecting with others or with nature. And this can be one thing that, helps you kind of have a better experience. It's not about the repellency. It's about the experience that you're after. A lot of the work I've been involved in has been things like designing toothpaste or working for a factory that creates fasteners or designing this little cap that makes a much better drinking experience out of a box or a superannuation company. Great designers can tap into their creativity and unlock it in other people, no matter what the topic is. You can draw new ways of seeing and thinking and doing things. Here, we've got a team of bank executives making dioramas. We just spent an hour talking about some of the insights that we've learned around how people interact in their branches, and I was like, let's make make the perfect bank. You have 20 minutes. And it's a good way to kind of very quickly get some ideas out of people and kind of get them to think about something in a different way. And those dioramas quickly moved into a series of prototypes and experiments that we then ran in branches. And it was so fun to run these experiments. And those bank executives were so much more bought into these ideas because they made the diorama. And now, we've got a big box that we brought into a room. We called it Tech Heaven. And we told all of the people who worked in the bank, we said, if there's broken technology, throw it in the bank. We'll throw it in the box. We'll decommission it for you. Because we found that actually a lot of old technology was being put in closets and in the back room because the process of decommissioning it was too long and arduous. I've never seen tellers so excited to throw away old keyboards. If you do it right, you can get some pretty risk-adverse companies to play along with you. And that helps you to be creative. Today, I'm going to share a few things I've observed that help designers and design leaders really be successful in making space for creativity. And to this room of design practitioners, the first thing I'm going to share is a little bit like eating your vegetables, so I'm sorry. I hate this part too. Inspiring confidence. You need to earn some of this creative space sometimes, especially in these organizations that's like a bank or a government agency. And I've noticed that when I'm working with a new client or a new boss, you gotta start strong. Start strong. And just do some of the basics well. Get crystal clear on the goal. Really understand what your client's true objectives are. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to do broadly? What are they trying to do personally? Create a plan. Have sort of like what that plan looks like. And every time you meet with them, your client or your boss, quickly recap the goal. This is what we're doing. This is why. Here's the plan. This is where we are. This is the basics. You can share something new and something interesting too. Don't make it like a boring status update. No one wants to go to that. But this is being empathetic to your client or to your boss, who actually probably is looking at a bunch of stuff, and now they're seeing you, and you've got to get them up to speed, and you want to get them into the right headspace. And I promise you, it's a really simple thing, but if you just do this, and every time you meet with them, you say, remember, this is what we're doing, this is the goal, this is what success looks like, here's where we are in the plan, now let me tell you the cool stuff, their claws will retract like a little bit, and they'll chill out, and they'll actually believe and trust you, and that will give you a little bit of air cover, because you need some space to do creativity. This is like the boring thing, but it's really important. And when I led a team at AMP, and they would work throughout the building, and I would have to find them, I was like, I want to walk into your space, and I want to see it. I want to know what's the name of your project, what are your goals, what's the plan, where are you now? Let's just talk about it. So we can get to the fun stuff, because I don't want to talk about that. I want to know that I can trust them to be doing great work. This helps. And, we're all slaves to PowerPoint. So make a slide of it too, and you can just reuse it over and over and over again. Don't fight it, because guess what? These types of businesses, they're going to if you just give them the PowerPoint that they want to see, it'll let you do the creative stuff where it needs to be done. So make them come back to it, speak their language, and if you just do that, they'll give you a little bit of space. Now the next part, now that you've got some space, you've got to get obsessed. You can talk to people to understand their attitudes, but if you really want to understand them, you've got to observe them. I got really obsessed with toothpaste for a while and oral care. Bought every single one. I would see it. Everything I saw in the world was about toothpaste. Every time I saw something, whether it was about health or beauty, I would relate it back to this. We set up a head cam at the office, and I had an entire buffet of toothpaste for people to try and to leave their notes on, and I could film them going through the process. It's quite formal, because we created a head cam for this. But you can do informal research too. Talk to I'm sorry, if you have dinner with me, I will probably ask you about your superannuation or your retirement. My partner's parents, when I moved to Australia, because super was new to me, I grilled them about their retirement plans in a weird way. But it's important to get really obsessed, Think about how can you learn about a topic holistically, and how can you inspire yourself? That's what this is. I don't think about it like research, it's learning. I'm trying to inspire myself. This is a mouth model. This is going to the store shopping with a family, see when they get their toothpaste. We want to really think about it, and formal and informal research count. When I'm studying something like finance, now I'm looking at everything in that space, right? I'm seeing everything through that lens. Instagram, restaurants, art installations, they all become filters for my study. If I get stuck, I go back to people. I'm grilling one of my friends. I had one of my friends sit down, and I just made a list of financial terms on Post-its, and I was like, first thing that comes to your mind, tell me. When I'm on Instagram, I saw this post, and it was I thought this post was so funny. I shared this with a client the other day. It's Sissy wants to future-proof her life and wants to get on top of her shit now that she's 30. I'm like, what banker, what financial planner is going to connect with this person, you know? But at the same time, I think ChatGPT could probably speak this person's language pretty quickly. Bring in new examples, you know? Designers, when you come into a project, when you go every day, like, bring something new. Show people something new. What a cool thing. This is at Whole Foods in Venice, California. You can pay with your palm. You just run it over there. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you pay with your hand. That's amazing. Zoom in and zoom out and immerse yourself. And the third thing, if you want to make space for creativity, is you have to create. No one's going to, aside from the formal deliverables, no one is going to ask you to do this. Like, every little thing that you're doing, you're creating. Make stuff. Every single day, you should be making something. Turn your process into stories. Draw out those processes. You should draw. You know, I feel like I don't see enough designers who really can very quickly draw their ideas out. You know, and I see a lot of people very quickly getting online or going on their computer and creating, you know, a process map or I'm just like, draw it. It takes 3 seconds and we can all be talking about the same thing. So learn to draw, get that across. It's the fastest way. And it's the fastest way to find out if you're on the right track, because usually you're probably wrong. And you'll need to iterate and test and figure out what's worth moving from sketch to prototype. So the faster you create, the faster you get to the answer. And innovation is a race. This is all about making in order to understand. And when you go home after work, you should create. I spend a lot of time painting. I spend a lot of time drawing. I think everyone should be doing it. Open up your mind, create in whatever way you want, whether it's music, drawing, whatever. But creativity is sort of like something that comes through the act of making, and you get better at it. It's like a muscle. Leaders, a few things I've noticed. Space is really important. It's the container for your team. Whether it's virtual or physical, you need to make a great container, an enviable space. Over 6 months, when I was at AMP, actually, part of the building was shut down for construction, and there was this whole lobby on one of the floors that was shut down, and no one was using it. And over 6 months, I literally, like in an Occupy Wall Street type way, took my team down there, just started buying furniture and turning it into a space that we could really own. And, you know, this became the space for creativity in the building. It's where the team played music as loud as they wanted to. It's where we made a mess. It's where we put shit up on the walls, and we could leave it there. And colleagues from other parts of the business started coming down. And we had coffee machine, and we would chill out. We created a startup vibe in a 160-year-old company. And it attracted people, and it attracted that energy. At Deloitte, we're doing the same thing with our spaces. We just this week moved into the new Key Quarter Tower in Circular Quay in Sydney. It's beautiful. It's so cool. And I cannot wait to make a mess in one of the corners. I can see the facilities people worried already as I'm moving furniture around. But it's really important to create that container. Leaders, you also have to protect time. I know everyone's calendars are insane. I hate calendars. I hate my calendar. This is not even a busy week. 10% rule, 20%, whatever you need to do, it's okay for your designers to have capacity. Overworked people are not creative. I'm not going to come up with thousands of amazing ideas if I've got back-to-backs and probably supposed to be in 2 meetings at once. Your people won't either. And so don't fill time with dumb shit. Help your people protect their time from useless meetings. And understand that the best ideas probably don't come out between 9 to 5, right? Help your team focus their energy on the right stuff, not lots of stuff. This can be really uncomfortable for some leaders who are not used to letting go, which I think brings me to my last point here, which is to be a player coach. If you're a design leader, it's not a spectator sport. You have to roll up your sleeves and you have to design with your team. You have to work with them and develop them. This is an investment so that you can then let your team go and let them explore, help them understand the constraints that they're working within. And in a lot of the industries that we work within, the spaces that need the most creativity, they have the most constraints. And so you've got to really help your team understand what those constraints are. I love this photo because my boss is there on the ground. She'd probably kill me if she knew I was using this photo right now, by the way. But I love that she's on the ground. She's like literally on the ground with us, writing out stuff in this workshop, right? And she's great at rolling up her sleeves and working with the team. It's not just sort of like directing and disappearing. Be among the team. Our value as creatives is in seeing something that others do not see and being brave enough to then do something about it, even when you know it's not going to be right away. Have fun. You will not be creative if you're not having fun. And make whatever project you're working on right now, today, make that your dream project. All right, good luck, everyone.